monkey. Finally, time to end off this series with the Studio Series number 106, Optimus Primal. The last maximal I need to complete this series. So without further ado, let's pick up the phone and take a look at the packaging. Get a really cool CGI render of Primal there, CG art, which they have reissued this in a clear window thing, which I have issue with. I'll tell you about that later. You have got the Takara Tomy, Generations, Transformers, Optimus Primal, blah blah blah, all this fun stuff. On this side of the box, you get a really good CG render of Primal in his robot mode. On the other side, you get a CG render of Primal in his beast mode, leader class, of course. Then on back, you get product shots, which show both beast mode and robot mode and the accessories. Backdrop, Peruvian jungle discovery, show the axe. Optimus Primal and the Maximals guard a piece of the transwarp key from unwelcome intruders. 34 steps for transformation. So let's unbox this guy and see what it is truly like to handle the leader of Maximals. So here we have Optimus Primal packaged in his beast mode, which is where my problem lies with the clear window packaging. So the packaging now allows you to reach in, and it's very easy to just pop this thing's head clean off. So this is very someone could very easily decide to be a terrible person one day and take off the head off of a Primal in a store, but whatever. We're starting in beast mode because he's packaged in beast mode. So the detail, let's pick up the phone and take a closer look at some of the detail. The texture work on this guy is incredible. Pretty much everywhere where it looks like there's texture, there is. And the head sculpt is amazing. A bunch of mechanized panels, all this, all that, pistons and the feet. Spinning him around to the back, he's mostly kibbleless, except for the robot mode feet just chilling back there, but whatever. Now, with that, let's go over beast mode articulation. We'll go over accessories in robot mode. So beast mode articulation. Head is on a ball joint, can look up, can look down slightly, tilt, rotate, mouth can open, shoulders rotate a full 360. They hinge out and go up to a pretty good range. There's a bicep cut. There is a bicep swivel, 90 degrees bend at the elbow, wrist swivel, 2 segments at the fingers, and specifically for beast mode, he has a butterfly joint. So that's pretty nice. No waist based on how he transforms. The hips can kick forward, back, hardly in and out, thigh rotation, and that's about it. But you can get him into an all fours general ape pose. What you want to do is spoil the transformation a little bit, is collapse the foot kind of into that. And then, once you get those all even, you bring these hip joints down, stand, and utilize the butterfly joints to get him into a general quadrupedal ape-like pose. So there is Primal actually looking like ape. So now we're going to do beast mode size comparisons, and we're going to start with Airazor. And we see Primal and Airazor together a lot, and I think that the scale works pretty well. Can definitely recreate some of the poses that they have in the movie together. So that's a thing. Next up, we have Cheetor, and I think the scale between these two works pretty well as well. As do I think he and Rhinox scale well together. I think all these Maximals scale really well with each other. But enough of that. Now, it's time to maximize Optimus Primal. So I'm going to get him back into the standing pose, standing on two legs instead of standing on all fours. So, first thing we're going to do is the arms. You want to push the fingers in so that way they collapse. Then you want to bring this arm out, take this panel, pop it out, take this panel, pop it out, and that will rotate this entire assembly. So, rotate the Beast Mode fist, rotate this panel, rotate the Beast Mode fist again, bring this piece down, bring this, and collapse this. It will peg in. Then this panel will shift over. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Bang. Now we get to work on the legs. So, untab these, bring this piece out, straighten this assembly until this piece goes over this piece, and then shift all this back, and then there is a slot there. I'll go into that tab. So, there you go. And then you fold up the knee pad, bring this up, straighten out the toe, straighten out the foot, and fold out the tiny little heel spur. Once again, repeat the same thing on the other side. Bang. Now, let's lift the camera up a little bit so we can begin work on the torso. So the first thing you're going to want to do is straighten out the Beast Mode head upwards, unpeg this chest piece, rotate it upwards, and unpeg all this and bring it up. Next, you're going to want to pop this piece out, shift this, rotate the beast head mode down, or beast mode head, rotate this, bring that back, collapse it, then bring it back and peg it in. Next, we get to work on the backpack. So, collapse this on the double hinge, rotate it, there's a slot there that'll go into that tab, so peg that in, and collapse it on all of these double hinge joints. There's a tab here which will peg into a slot there. So bring that down and peg it in. Make sure he is all straightened out. And voila! There we have Optimus Primal fully transformed into his robot mode, which I think looks really nice, really accurate to what we actually see in the movie, except for the head, which has, like, no faceplate, which I don't mind. He does a really good job standing up, and the detail is pretty much everything you saw in the robot mode in terms of the arms. But we do get new, more simplified robot mode hands. We get the leg assemblies and the feet, which look really nice. You get the main torso, and then the head, which I think looks really good. God dang it. Primal, don't fall over, dude. It's not good for you. So, anyways, let's go over his accessories. So, first accessory, or accessories, you get swords. You get his two silver blades that can peg together to form one larger blade. And, of course, Primal can wield these blades in his hands. So, you can have him wielding them like this as two separate blades, or you can peg them together and have him wield them as one large blade. However, there is another way you can display these, and that is by using the two included chain accessories. I don't know where my other chain is. I lost the second chain. I don't know where it is, and I am sorry for that. However, the chains are identical, so I can just show you this one. So, since the chains are identical, you're able to combine them or have them separate. There's a hinge joint, hinge joint, hinge joint, hinge joint. So you can really compress it or stretch it out. And of course, you can attach the swords to the chain to get Primal into a kind of sword swinging esque pose where he is swinging the swords. But I'll show you poses soon enough. Next accessory, seeing as he's a modern day leader, he comes with a lot of accessories, is Optimus Prime's axe. Now, I do not have the Rise of the Beast Optimus. Expect me to be able to find that thing, but this axe works really well on the main line that I have, and of course fits into Primal's hand really nicely. Or, I literally just discovered this, can peg it into the chain, because they're both 3mm ports. Now, finally, the last accessory, he comes with a transwarp key, which is beautifully painted and sculpted. Move. The thing is beautiful looking, and it separates. You gotta kind of wriggle it, but it does separate into 2 individual pieces. So what I do is give one piece to Nightbird in my display and the other one to Airazor. So, of course, you can slide either the completed or uncompleted transwarp key into the hands of pretty much any figure. They don't grip the transwarp key, it just kind of rests there. Just kind of rests there. It doesn't really peg in. But then, if you want to recombine the transwarp key, he can hold the completed transwarp key, which is pretty nice. Now, let's get on to articulation. Head is on a ball joint, can look up and down slightly, can tilt slightly, but can rotate pretty well. Shoulders rotate a full 360, a hinge out to the side, backwards butterfly joints due to the whole beast mode butterfly, bicep cut, elbow bend, wrist cut, 2 separate segments at the fingers, waist cut, hips kick forward that far, back to about that far, in and out to pretty much unimpeded, in and out. There's a thigh swivel, 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and the feet pivot up and down. There's an ankle pivot, and then there's a toe bend. So you can get this guy into some very dynamic looking poses, which I will show right now. Alright, now for accessory storage, or just weapon storage in general, because I forgot to do that. So, the blades do the standard Optimus Primal thing, where they peg into the back of Primal. They're just kind of there. The axe, however, is pretty nice. It has this 3mm peg here that goes in, well, not 3mm. It goes into a port here, or on this side, whichever side you so choose, to allow Primal to wield the axe on his side, which I think opens him up for a lot more posing stuff. So now let's get on to size comparisons, the first of which being, now we have Airazor, and I'm going to take a drink of water. So now here we have Air Razor, and I think that the scale between these two works out pretty well, as do I think the scale between he and Cheetor works really well. All of these Maximals just look amazing together, and I'm so happy that I can have the complete set. Which is even further exemplified by Rhinox. All these Maximals look amazing together, and having the complete set is really nice. But I know for some people that is not an option, and if you were to get just one Maximal, I would say get Primal, and if he's not in your budget, and if you can only get a Voyager, I'd say get Rhinox in that case. Finishing up this review for the Studio Series Rise of the Beast Optimus Primal, I think that this is a really good figure, and it's starting to show up in stores a bit more now, so if you can find it and you want it, pick it up. That has been this review and the end of the Maximal series. Goodbye and good night.